So tell us about the project. How is it going?
Well, we've so over the last couple of years, we've in this project we've basically been looking for what makes some people susceptible to nevi and some people not susceptible to nevi, and to do this with concentrated on mouse models, and so the bottom line is we've found a gene that makes mice susceptible to getting nevi, and we've been working on that. And so we're putting in for a new grant this time based on what we've found. And just at this stage, instead of talking about nevi or moles in general, we're concentrating on congenital nevi, which is a different form of nevi, if you like, and they form in a different way rather than the nevi that we get as adults that form. So there are similarities between them, but also differences. So at the moment we're trying to concentrate on this particular form where we can actually, more easily get a handle on what's going on, because we can see them developing in the mice, and then we can try to stop it. Yeah. So the bottom line is we still keep working with the animals to, if you like, prove that this is why. So this gene is how this gene is working to induce the nevi, and after we do that, the second part of the project is to try to use drugs which might stop this. So they act on the pathway through which the gene acts on the.
And so is the second part of the pathway the grant that you've applied for with regards to the drugs, or is that?
Yeah, so that's the one of the aims of the grant.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Great.
so it's a kind of a proof of principle, and so it's very early days, and to know what will actually come of it. But one of the things I actually also said in the grant is that it's actually the same pathway that's used. Well, the drugs that we're using to attack this pathway, some of them are the same drugs that are used for treating BCC topically. So basal cell carcinomas and other things. So now, I mean, most skin cancers are cut off, of course, because it's the best thing to do with them, that they look dangerous. But also there's a lot of things happening where there's a lot of people would know topical treatment, so stuff you can just put on your skin, and some of these things are being used for benign basal cell carcinomas, or they're called in situ, anyway, it turns out it's the very similar kind of if you like, the pathways involved, the things involved actually might be very similar for these nevi.
Okay. And so will you find that out at the end of this project?
Yeah, so we've got to test this on mice first.
Yes.
And then see what happens after that. And of course it's much more complicated before you start putting things on human beings. You have to be really sure. But I suppose things are changing, and there's a lot of things, topical treatments being used at the moment for various, particularly kind of skin lesions that there's really no risk of them becoming a cancer, like the things most of us get from living in Queensland. And some of them actually work on cancers as well. So anyway, the bottom line, that's kind of we're trying to do this proof of principle experiment on the mice to see if these actually work, because the gene we've discovered acts in a similar way to the genes for these cancers.
Okay.
So there are differences, otherwise the cancer, one wouldn't be a nevus and one wouldn't be a basal cell carcinoma.
Yeah.
But
both respond to the treatment the same way.
Yeah. So, but it is very early days, because dermatology is all about the best. Anything that seems dangerous will be surgically removed. But one day, things might change, and they're already changing for these other cancers, or the other benign skin lesions with some of the topical treatments.
Excellent. And basically, obviously, this is going to go back to the little family. Is there anything that you want to say to them?
Yeah, well, again, I just want to thank them for the opportunity to do this. And you know, we did meet. It was last year. I think it was last year. But it was really nice. And all I can say is we're grateful, and it has proceeded very well, and it's moving on now. So, I mean, research doesn't, research is kind of something that's has to be done, and you have to build up the building blocks, and often the research doesn't go anywhere, but sometimes it does, and this one actually happens to be going somewhere, we hope.
Great.
So